I think it's essential. As investors look towards diversifying their portfolio holdings, I think it is of critical importance that developing markets are able to align themselves, harmonize with the structural developments, the reporting developments, the templates that are being developed in terms of data. It all goes to the benefit of ensuring that we have access to investors.
Well, I think harmonization in the sense as it's done in the ECB with a harmonization template is very good when it comes to transparency, both for investors but also for regulators, because they can kind of follow and hopefully see the security of the asset class. But when it comes to a total harmonization, I think there's a long way to go, because there are other regulations that have to be harmonized as well. But it's a good starting point.
The Commission proposed three different alternatives, going from full regulation to some type of directive, high principles directive, and or just giving some recommendations or best practices. From my point of view, as I was there at the Brussels event in February, I really think that the European Commission does not really want to disrupt a market which is fully functioning now. So, from my point of view, the most harsher type of intervention through a regulation and potentially creating a 29th regime of covered bond in Europe, I think it has been averted. Now the discussion will focus on the two other alternatives. I mean, just giving some recommendations or best practices, so there is a market convergence of the different European frameworks, for example by following the EBA guidelines of best practices in covered bonds, and the other alternative is a mix of recommendations and potentially a high principle directive, trying to define what's really a covered bond, because as of today we have usage on the one side, we have the Article 129 of CRR on the other hand. We don't have a clear, unified legal framework, at least trying to define which are the basic features of a covered bond. I think there is room of space there. I think there will be some type of high principle directive trying to define the basic key features of covered bonds in terms of public supervision, in terms of monitoring, in terms of asset segregation, in terms of transparency. But we have to take into account that the reason why there are different covered bond frameworks in Europe is that because European countries are very different. We have different insolvency laws, different mortgage markets, different consumer habits, different housing policies. So from that point of view, I think that on these more controversial subjects, like linked to these ones, like LTV revaluation, like eligibility, what to do with mixed cover pools, what happens, or the role of cover pool monitors in a post-insolvency scenario, from that point of view, I think there will be just some type of recommendation. So at the end, from my point of view, the most likely outcome is going to be a mix of high principle directive and a set of recommendations in the most controversial points where, I mean, it's not possible to fully harmonize the different frameworks.
Yeah, harmonization is an important point because it, first of all, increases investors' interest in the sensible criteria for covered bonds, and it's important to have a homogeneous, high-quality product, and of course then you have to dig into the different criteria, and that's a lengthy process and it will take a while. As we don't have a European insolvency law yet, which would be a prerequisite of the common harmonized European covered bond law, I think it will take some time, but it's important to start the process and talk about the relevant features.